How do you know the difference between not being a vibrational match or not in alignment with something, and that's why it's not manifesting your reality?
Give it to us again.
How do you know the difference between not being a vibrational match or not being in alignment with something, and that's why it's not manifesting in your reality?
Well, that's always
And
true. Those things are saying the same thing.
I know. And conversely, being in alignment with what you want and not having it in your experience this red hot minute because of timing issues.
Well, timing is only about alignment.
But you've talked about how you plant seeds in the ground. You can't, like when the little shoots start coming up, you can't tug on them and make them grow into ripe tomatoes immediately. You know that it's going to be X number of days between germination and ripe fruit. So you don't worry about it in that period of time. You can relax and enjoy the time it takes for the fruit to manifest. Or Jerry and Esther are going down the highway. They're going from Phoenix to San Diego. They know it's 400 miles. They know how long it takes to travel 400 miles. What if they plopped out of the sky, landed who knows where, and even with Magellan telling them where to go, they don't know how far away they are. They don't have any idea how long it's going to take them to get there. It would be a much more stressful journey.
We agree.
How do you know the difference between being out of alignment with something and just needing to let time go by?
But here's the thing that we would like to... Let's say that Jerry and Esther plopped out of the sky and did not know where they were. Let's say that they didn't have a Magellan. They're just somewhere in relationship to where they want to be. And what we're saying is they could make that journey quantifiable by following the path thoughts that feel the best, and they would move in the right direction. When Jerry and Esther first began receiving Abraham, there were friends in Phoenix who were coming to Jerry and Esther's house and having Abraham chats frequently. And one night, the four of them hatched an idea that they would go get lost somewhere in Phoenix and Jerry and Esther would come and find them. And it was literally a game of where does it feel like they are. They had no map. They had no sense. And so Jerry and Esther, and Esther was not receiving us verbally. At that time, she was still receiving us through the typewriter. And so their agreement with us was that we would just point in the direction of them. And so Esther relaxed and followed the point. And they came to an intersection, and we would point. And they came to another intersection, and we would point. In other words, they were following what felt like the way to go. And they came to a place, and we said, here. And they looked around, and their friends were not there. Very frustrating for Jerry and Esther. How could Abraham get it wrong? So off we went again. This way, this way, this way, here. Again, their friends were not there. Very frustrating for Jerry and Esther. They're on their second tank of gas now. But they had agreed no one would go home until either the sun came up or they had found them. And then they found them. And Esther said, first we went to the dumpster behind the Mountain Shadows Resort. And they said, we were there. And they said, and then we went to the Denny's restaurant over on such and such a street. And they said, we were there. In other words, Jerry and Esther were clearly on their path. They were feeling the vibration of what they were reaching for. And what we are saying to you is you will get to the place where you will always be able to feel the direction of that which is your goal. Every goal will be quantifiable in time.
But my question really is more about time. Is there a time frame? So
the time is about the resistance that is involved. And so even in the tomato analogy, the tomato cannot become what you want it to be faster than your expectation. It's like the 4-minute mile.
If you were in complete alignment with having fresh ripe tomatoes, that tomato would be there.
Yes.
Even if you planted them yesterday.
Yes.
That's what I thought.
Because the timing, the amount of time that elapses between where I am and where I want to be. You see, you didn't just decide that you wanted anything just now. You've been launching those intentions all along. So your future, your vibrational escrow is full of all of these potential manifestations. And the amount of time that lapses between where you are now and your receiving of the manifestation of them is only about the amount of time that elapses before you become a vibrational match to what you're asking for. So when you say, I want a tomato, Jerry and Esther, it's funny that you're talking about tomatoes, because Jerry and Esther love tomatoes and had not had wonderful tomatoes for a while, and they have had delightful tomatoes for dinner every night for 10 or 12 nights in a row, because everywhere they go, some restaurant has just received. The other night they had tomatoes. Jerry said, where did these tomatoes come from? And the restaurant owner said, well, they're not local, because our local tomatoes are very green and hard right now. And Jerry said, well, wherever did you find these? And he said, Holland. We fly them in every week. They are grown in water without soil, hydroponically. And Esther said, and they came for us. In other words, she knew. They've been planning on being at Luciano's. They've had it written in their calendar for weeks and weeks and weeks, and the universe just made sure that when they got there, the tomatoes were there. Jerry and Esther didn't have to plant them. They just had to want them, you see. And that's true of everything. When you want it and you are not vibrationally in opposition to what you want, the universe in all of its resources will yield it to you. It's this feeling that I've got to do it myself. I've got to dig the hole. I've got to put the seed in the ground. I've got to tend to it. I've got to water it. I've got to do all the work, and then I get the credit for it. I get the blame for what goes wrong and the credit for what goes right. And we say, morph yourself into the greater scheme of things and take the worthiness that is yours, and let the fairies of the universe assist you, and stop taking so much responsibility up on yourself, and live happily ever after, and shorten that crevasse between where you are and where you want to be on every subject to now. Ride the wave. Just pluck the fruit. In other words, you don't have to be the one that puts it in the ground anymore. You can just skip across the top of things and pluck the fruit of all of the things you want. Oh, orgasm. Oh, food. Oh, delicious this, delicious this, delicious this, delicious this. In other words, it's all right there for you, ready for you to receive it as fast and as soon as you will vibrationally let it in. Yes.
Thank you.